The defining frustration of the package delivery scam is that the criminal is using your own anxiety about late deliveries as the primary psychological tool. It's a beautifully simple yet devastatingly effective manipulation that turns a moment of anticipation into a moment of compromise.
Just think about that for a second. The very system we built for convenience, ordering something online and getting excited for it to arrive, is the exact system now being turned against us. A totally routine, everyday act has been weaponized. They figured out how to transform our collective impatience into the perfect backdoor for theft. That excitement you feel, that's the vulnerability they're aiming for. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna conduct a full forensic breakdown of this whole thing. We'll deconstruct this threat together, piece by piece. You're gonna understand not just what the scam is, but exactly why it works so well on so many smart people. And, most importantly, how to build a defense that makes you pretty much immune to it. So where does it all begin? Well, it doesn't start with some complex brute force hack or a fancy piece of malware. Nope. The attack kicks off with something way more elegant and, honestly, insidious. A simple, weaponized notification. It's an attack that thrives on this central paradox of modern life. Our demand for instant convenience has put us in a permanent state of impatient vulnerability.
We've all been there. You know that feeling. You're waiting for a package, you're excited, you're hitting refresh on the tracking page over and over again. And then you see that word, delayed. It's a minor frustration for sure, but it is very real. And this is the genius of the scam. The criminal doesn't have to create a new emotion in you. They just have to wait for this one to pop up. They have engineered a system to find you in that exact moment of impatience and turn it into a weapon. Now, to really get why this is so brutally effective, we need to zoom out a bit and look at the crime scene itself. The modern digital world, this whole e-commerce environment we've built, is the perfect hunting ground for this kind of fraud. Just look at the sheer volume of packages zipping around the globe. We are swimming in an ocean of e-commerce. It's this constant stream of cardboard boxes flowing to millions of doorsteps every single day. What that does is create a massive, perpetually vulnerable population. See, a scammer doesn't need to know if you specifically are waiting for a package from UPS. They just need to know that someone is. They can send out a million texts, and if even a tiny fraction of those people happen to be waiting for a delivery, bingo, they've found their victims. It's a numbers game. They just can't lose. And their weapon of choice for this hunt? It's called smishing, which is just phishing, but delivered through an SMS text message. So why a text? Because it's immediate, it's personal, and it lands on the one device we are all conditioned to react to instantly. A text message isn't like an email you check later. It's a notification that buzzes in your pocket and demands a response. And during peak seasons like the holidays, the odds swing even more into the scammer's favor. They just cook up a plausible excuse, a small customs fee is needed, or the delivery address is incomplete, and suddenly, a generic message blasted to thousands of people feels like a personal crisis meant just for you. So, how does this actually unfold? Let's trace the attacker's method, step by step. We're going to follow the breadcrumbs from that first text message all the way to the final theft, because understanding this predictable, repeatable process is the key to dismantling it. The attack is a really clean four-stage process. First up, initiation. You get that text message. It often spoofs the name of a big courier, so it seems legit right away. Second, coercion. The message makes up a problem and pressures you to click a link to fix it immediately. That's the hook. Third, data input. That link, it doesn't go to the real courier's website. It takes you to a perfect replica, a clone site, where you're asked for a small fee or personal info to release your package. And finally, stage 4, harvesting. The second you enter your info and hit submit, your data is gone. It's a super efficient, automated assembly line for identity theft.
Now, the most critical element here, the stage for this whole deception, is that clone website. This isn't some amateur, misspelled, sketchy-looking page. Scammers now use tools that create pixel-perfect copies of the real thing. The logos, the colors, the fonts, even the tracking interface. Your brain, which is a master of pattern recognition, sees this familiar design and is immediately put at ease. This is the crucial moment of manipulation. The scam bypasses your logical, analytical brain by appealing directly to your visual memory. It creates this powerful and totally false sense of safety.
And this right here is the psychological choke point of the entire scam. The one tiny detail that gives the whole game away is sitting right there in your browser's address bar. But the entire deception is engineered to make you overlook it. Look at the difference. It's subtle, right? an extra hyphen, an added word like status or info. Under the pressure of the moment, with a visually perfect website telling you everything's okay, our brain fails to do this one last critical security check. This is the exact point where the trap snaps shut. And here's where the manipulation slips. The scammers ask for a tiny fee, like $1.99 for redelivery, maybe $2.50 for customs clearance. So why so small? Well, it's not about the money. A small fee feels plausible. It's not big enough to set off your financial alarm bells, but its real purpose is twofold. First, it makes the whole thing feel like a legitimate transaction. Second, and this is the big one, it's the tool that convinces you to willingly type in your full name, your address, and of course, your credit card number, expiration date, and security code. They don't want your dollar. They want your data.
But why does this work on so many of us? This has nothing to do with intelligence. It's all about expertly exploiting the predictable, hardwired shortcuts in our brains. To really become immune, we need to do a kind of psychological autopsy on the cognitive biases these criminals use to get us to just hand over our own information.
So the first thing they exploit is something called cognitive fluency. Basically, our brains are wired to trust things that are familiar and easy to process. When you land on that clone site, it looks exactly like the FedEx page you've seen 100 times before. Because it's so easy for your brain to recognize it, it feels trustworthy and safe. This visual perfection gives you an immediate sense of comfort, and it pretty much disarms your analytical defenses before they even ask for your data. And once your defenses are lowered by that feeling of familiarity, the scammer deploys the emotional hammer: urgency and scarcity. The message creates a threat with a deadline. Your package will be returned to sender if you don't act in 24 hours, or your items will be destroyed if the fee isn't paid now. This language is designed to kick you into a state of low-grade panic, a powerful and immediate need to just solve the problem. It forces a quick emotional decision, deliberately bypassing the slow, logical thinking you would normally use. And that leads right to the final state: cognitive overload. The combination of that familiar-feeling website and the intense pressure of urgency just overwhelms your brain's ability for careful, analytical thought. Your brain's priority shifts from security to just getting the task done. It's like an internal voice saying, "Forget the details, just save the package." In this state of overload, the critical thinking you need to do something as simple as carefully checking a URL just gets suppressed. You're no longer analyzing, you're just reacting. Okay, so we have completely taken this attack apart, from the psychology to the technology. Now, we're going to build your defense. And this isn't some vague advice like, be careful online. This is your clear, tactical, and actionable protocol. This is how you build total, unbreakable immunity to this entire class of scam. Your defense starts with being able to instantly recognize the threat signature. It's a combination of 4 distinct signals that, when they show up together, are a near certain indicator of a scam. Let's walk through them. First, an unsolicited message. Second, a link demanding you click it. Third, a request for money or personal data. And fourth, a threat of some kind of loss if you don't act fast. The crucial thing here is to see these flags not as separate items, but as a single pattern that just screams scam. Recognizing that pattern should immediately trigger your defense protocol. We call this the mandatory verification habit. It is non-negotiable, and it works every single time. Step 1, and this is the most important: stop. The moment you feel that urge to click, you have to consciously pause. Just put the phone down for a second. This is your circuit breaker. Step 2, open a completely new, clean browser window. Step 3, manually, with your own fingers, type in the courier's official website. FedEx.com, UPS.com, you get it. And step 4, use the official tracking number you got in your original purchase confirmation email to check the package status directly on the real site. This habit, this simple 4-step process, makes you completely immune. You know, the most effective way to do this is to make the decision before the scam ever arrives. It's like a fire drill plan, right? You don't try to figure out the escape route when you smell smoke, you already know it by heart. Turn this into your own personal security policy. Just commit to this one statement. By deciding in advance that you will only ever interact with a courier on their official site, which you have typed in yourself, you remove all doubt and hesitation when that urgent text shows up. The decision is already made. You don't have to think, you just execute the plan. All right, time for the final verdict.
We've deconstructed the crime, we've analyzed the psychology, and we've built the tactical defense. Now it's time to distill all of this down into one final protective thought that you can carry with you.
When you really boil it all down, this entire scam reveals a fundamental truth about our lives today. Our greatest vulnerability often isn't our technology, it's our own psychology. It's a failure of our whole convenience at all costs culture. That burning desire for speed, for the immediate update, for one-click solutions, that impatient curiosity is the very weakness these attackers are banking on. In this environment, patience and process are your strongest shields. So let's end with this. Your final protective mantra, a single, memorable rule that wraps up this entire lesson. Always go back to the source. You started the process by making a purchase and getting an official tracking number from a retailer you trust. So end the process by using that same official channel. Never let an unsolicited text message from some random number shortcut your security process. Never click the delivery link, track it the way you started it.